Channel Fear Zone, your channel of terror. Good evening to all, and now we go to the account today that is of Mr. Elton. This happened to him in the city of Maracas, that is in the state of Bahia, and at that time it was in the year 2007. Mr. Elton was 39 years old. And everything starts like this. I live in a rural village well away from the city, and in this place to many humble houses, and the residents of this neighborhood have custom to have farm animals in their backyards, and our region is surrounded by forests to lose sight of where this vegetation in the night is very dark even. Well, I didn't raise animals like pigs and chickens. While I worked at a company in the city, I didn't have time to take care of those kind of animals, but my neighbor has a big chicken and pig farm in his backyard. But what occurred one night is that I was watching TV and it was already around 2 o'clock in the morning until I started to hear my neighbor's dogs barking a lot. However, to my surprise, I began to hear fighting noises at my neighbor's house too, and it seemed that their dogs attacked something, and I heard my neighbor, who was an old gentleman, talking angry like that, go away, disappear from here. And then I heard some noise of beatings, and I got scared by it. Well, so curious, I went to my window to look at what was going on, so I got scared at what I saw, because they had kind of a big furry animal tangled and tied to my neighbor's barbed wire fence, and he was hitting that animal with a stick, and his dogs also bit this strange animal, while the old man beat this beast. This being even tried to attack and fight, but it was tangled in the fence and could not get loose, and for me soon that animal would die from so much catch from the old, but even. So I was worried about this neighbor of the animal managed to escape and attack him. Then, after roaring a lot of pain, this creature managed to get out and escape from that barbed wire fence. This animal came out stunned and badly injured and was running staggering and with difficulty and went to the forest of the wasteland that had near the property. I was scared by the size of this creature. I was watching where it would go. But the strange thing is that this animal stopped and stared in the direction of my house. I was impressed by the eyes of that weird animal because they were lit like a light. I could not identify what beast was this animal because it was like half monkey and half wolf, but it was much bigger than a big dog. And I also realized that this animal was not being able to walk on 4 legs because it looked like it had hurt one of the front legs that made it difficult for him to walk. With this, as the animal had not left yet, I took my gun to expel him, because he was near the house fence. I went out in my backyard with the gun in my hands, and I went hidden without the animal seeing me. I came close to this creature. I could have even shot him, but first I wanted to see this strange creature up close, and watching this animal, I was awed at its macabre appearance, and I really noticed that this beast was badly injured and bruised. But when this creature saw me hiding with the shotgun in his hands, he suspected something, and at that moment ended up happening something that I did not expect, because the creature stood up as if it were a man, balancing standing, only on 2 legs. You could see more or less that this being had a head almost equal to that of a dog, and the coat of this animal was dark and failed. So I already thought that it was a werewolf, and what happened next was that as my neighbor's dogs were coming running through the forest barking and looking for this beast, the werewolf, realizing it, began to run on 2 legs through the vegetation and disappeared into the darkness. I was astounded at what I had just seen that morning, and I came home very scared and didn't sleep well. I thought it could still be around and end up coming into my house, and any dog noise that was lame I was afraid of. And this that dawned the day and werewolf did not appear. As soon as it cleared with the sun, I ended up going to this neighbor's house to talk to him and know if everything was fine, and arriving at his residence we talked about the creature. My neighbor told me that in the early hours he heard his chickens running through the yard and his dogs barking. So he came out with a stick in his hand in the middle of the morning, and then he saw a kind of monkey-like animal carrying his chicken in his mouth. This animal was trying to pass through the enclosure of his land, and when the invading animal saw him, the creature tried to pass fast through the barbed wire fence. That's how the animal got tangled up and got stuck in that fence. With that, my neighbor, who was an old man, started beating that creature with a stick while his dogs bit him. And as soon as Lord told me all this, I found it strange that he didn't realize he was hitting a werewolf, and soon I warned that I had seen this animal standing like a man after he ran away from the fence. The old man was half doubting it, but he told me he couldn't see properly because of his age. I warned him further that this creature could be vengeful and want to come back to settle the score, for it seemed to be a clever creature, this wolf man. I asked if you had any firearms inside your house. He said no, so I told this neighbor of mine to get one, because the houses of our village were a distance of about 20 meters from each other, and many of the time we did not know when some residents would be suffering attacks. Well, after I talked to this man, I came back to my house thinking about this beast in our region. But the days went by and the creature did not come back. However, I always took a look near my house through the surrounding forests to see if this werewolf appeared, and of course, I began to take care to go out there in the backyard of my residence in the evening. One morning I woke up and started walking in the backyard of my house, then hearing my neighbor who hit the werewolf calling me, and he was looking at something in his backyard, so I walked up there to see what he wanted. When I arrived at his residence, I saw something bizarre. For several of his chickens, some animal killed them in the early hours, and his pigs were badly injured, and one of these pigs almost dying. It was a total destruction of the property of this old man. This time he believed me in what I said. That was a werewolf, that creature, and now this beast came back to take revenge for the beating he had taken, and my neighbor had no firearm yet to face this creature, and could do nothing because of his age, which was about 70 years old. The werewolf seemed to be so angry that he didn't even care about the dogs barking at him, and it was revenge even, because this werewolf went to the chicken coop, and there he killed a lot of chickens and didn't eat any. My neighbor was hidden inside his house with the light off, only seeing the evil of this animal in the early hours, but action of this werewolf lasted only about 10 minutes, and the old man realized that it was a werewolf because this animal did all this standing like a man, and he could walk on 2 legs. After all this, the old man told me that now he would buy a shotgun to try to put an end to this creature, for only his dogs were not enough to help him. Well, that would be a good idea for the old man to defend himself, but luckily the creature never came back. But a very strange fact that I learned was that in another part of town a man was shot dead inside a farm, but the point is that the dead man was naked, and it seems until this suspect was already badly injured before the tragedy. I do not know if this story has to do with the werewolf who appeared in the old man's house, but at least this creature has not returned to terrorize us. It seems until this beast passed through our neighborhood only in those days, but I still be smart with these creatures today, because suddenly when you least expect this beast that attacks at dawn may appear again. Well folks, thank you for watching the video, and if you liked the report, of a like and subscribe to the channel Fear Zone to receive more content like this.